Welcome back, everybody. Continuing with the coverage of the passing of Ahmed Kathrada. You've been sending in some tweets and expressing your views this morning. We'll continue to take a look at them as we celebrate a man's life for a political career that basically spanned 75 years. Absolutely amazing. From his days as a 12-year-old in the Young Communist League of South Africa, and then the Secretary General of the Transvaal Indian Youth Congress in the 50s. Kathrada in 1964 found himself an accused in the Revolia trial alongside Nelson Mandela, Govan Mbeki, Walter Sisulu, as well as Dennis Goldberg. As you do know, he was one of the three surviving Revonia trialists and unfortunately is no more. Despite being in prison for 26 years, he still continued to carry on that work until the day he died. Let's take a look at some of your tweets now that you've been sending in this morning.
All right, the first one from Mondli M. Rest in peace, Baba. Thank you for fighting for us. All right, there's another one coming through from Ashley Charles Slow. Rest in peace, Soldier Ahmed Kathrada. You were a barrier for this country till the end. Bilik is writing for us, may Allah grant Ahmed Kathrada a place in paradise. From Allah we came and to him is our return. Condolences to his family. All right, let's take another one from Isaac Malachori. May the soul of Uncle Kathy rest in peace. His work will always be remembered. All right, the last one from Aisha Haturani. Deepest sympathy, sincere condolences to the family. Mr. Ahmed Kathrada, a great stalwart he was. South Africa National Muslim Women's Forum.
Beautiful tributes coming through this morning from you, the viewer, and from people that have had interaction with him and that have watched him. And one of those unbelievable individuals who we also watch, who is not in great health as we speak this morning. And that, of course, is our Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He's released a statement basically saying that he has praised the ANC stalwart and the anti-apartheid struggle veteran Ahmed Kathrada as a champion of non-racial justice. Tutu says in a statement that when prison gates opened, the quality of the human beings who emerged was a blessing for all South Africans. He says Kathrada was a leader of the highest integrity and moral fibre. Tutu says he inspired South Africans' self-worth through humility and humanity. He also added Kathrada embraced a simple life and supported righteous causes. Beautiful statement.
Beautiful tributes indeed coming through. Now, we do know that, like we said earlier on, that he was born in Swazranike. That's a small farming town in the northwest province. Now, this town remembers Ahmed Mohammed Kathrada as a resilient, determined man. He was born on this farm on the 21st of August, 1929.
All right, Kathrada lived there with his parents until he moved to Gauteng at the age of 8. There he attended school and became involved in political movements at the tender age of 12. This move would steer him deeper into politics.
Recalling an unforgettable telephone conversation with Kathrada in hospital, his family has described him as a resilient soul that even in sickness and old age stayed strong.
Swazranike, a small farming town in the northwest. It is the birthplace of this South African struggle icon, Ahmed Mohammed Kathrada, popularly called Kathy. He was born on this farm on the 21st of August, 1929.
His nephew.
Kathrada lived here with his parents until he moved to Gauteng at the age of 8. There, he attended school and became involved in political movements by the tender age of 12. This, a move that would steer him deeper into politics. Recalling an unforgettable telephone conversation with Kathrada in hospital, his family has described him as a resilient soul that even in sickness and old age stayed strong.
I telephoned him and asked him, Uncle Ahmed, 87 years and you're still going strong? He says, yeah. I said, now what's a success story? Says it's actually very simple. When we were incarcerated on Robben Island, for the first 10 to 11 years, we bathed in cold water. We were up at 4 o'clock every morning. We bathed in ice cold water, right? We slept on the floor, right? We were busy breaking limestones. So how is it that we were not fit? You understand? So what I do is I continue with that. As a rule, I get up in the morning as early as possible. Although I don't bath in that cold water. What he mentioned was I first bath in ice cold water and then I let a little bit of warm water run over me. So it says to you that, you know what, these comrades came from a very difficult and a very hard life.
Kathrada has also taught his family much about humility.
Kathy's reminder to this family is just one simple thing. Always, always be honest in your dealings. You know, try your best not to harm people. Don't hurt people. You know, Kathy is like that. His constant reminder to us is that be morally correct. Always try and be morally correct.
Kathrada is remembered by South Africans for his active role in fighting against apartheid. Silwane Khachau, SABC News, Schweizer in the Northwest.
All right, and shortly we are going to be crossing back to our reporter Griselda Lewis, who's still at the Donald Gordon Hospital. That is where Ahmed Kathrada passed on this morning. But you do have the latest.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just seeing a report coming in about the funeral details, and it should be happening about 50 minutes from now, actually at 9 o'clock. The details, this has been released, saying that Janaza will leave Masjid ul Furqan on Wednesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's, of course, at 9 this morning. And West Park Cemetery at 10 a.m. That's when that's going to be happening, between 9 and 10. And then there'll be a tribute at 11:30 a.m. at Janaza Salah. So we'll get more details for you. But what we are gathering right now is that this is happening between 9 and 10 at West Park Cemetery. As you mentioned, Griselda Lewis is at the hospital right now. She, in fact, is joined by the late Ahmed Kathrada's nephew. Let's see, or grandnephew. Let's have this conversation now. Griselda, a very good morning to you.
Well, as tributes continue to pour in for the struggle icon, we're seeing prayers that are coming from just around the country, and we're also getting some tributes internationally as well, as we await the official announcement there of the details of the funeral arrangements, Leanne. But certainly what I can tell you is that from late yesterday afternoon, what we noticed outside this particular hospital was the many people who came to share and stand with the family in difficulty, when it was still indicated at the time that the condition of now the late struggle stalwart Ahmed Kathrada had deteriorated. Let's just chat now to the grandnephew Aziz Kathrada this morning. Mr. Kathrada, condolences to you and your family this morning. I think all of South Africa is shocked by the news that we woke up to this morning. How are you holding up as a family?
Thank you very much. Good morning, South Africa. I greet you with the universal greeting of peace. Something that my uncle stood for all his life. In his recent book, A Gentle Soul, it epitomizes a man that was with character, integrity, and absolute humbleness in everything that my uncle strove for, had strived for in our country. We can proudly say that this is a child of South Africa. This is a man of South Africa, for South Africa, and for all and each one of you. Yes, it is with absolute sadness that we take leave of him today, but we celebrate in his memory for what he stood for: integrity, humbleness, uprightness, and to take this country forward. And it is with that message that we say Amanullah to him, and farewell, Uncle Kathy, my dear, our dear uncle, friend, and comrade. Thank you very much.
Aziz, I'm sure yesterday we saw quite a number of dignitaries, comrades also come and be with you as a family. And, just as a family during his last moments, of course, I'm sure he was surrounded by you as family as well.
We were intermittently in and out of the room, and it is the way he lived his life. He has passed on to the next with absolute dignity, with a smile, and I'm sure the country will respect the family's time of need, and more particularly mourning at this particular point in time. But as a country, and as South Africans, as fellow South Africans, we need to remember for what he stood and to carry that message to our countrymen, and to stand for what he had stood for our country. And that is in striving for a democracy with openness, honesty and integrity. And I am proud, and I'm honestly really so proud to be a grandnephew of this great icon of South Africa.
How are you going to remember Uncle Kathy? Something special. I see that smile on your face.
Uncle Kathy had a fantastic sense of humor. And I would always remember the one story he had always told us. And once upon a time, he was asked by Uncle Nelson to meet somebody at the airport and to bring that person to Uncle Nelson. And to cut a long story short, he had to, where Uncle Nelson was stationed that time, he was still in the underground, and it was literally a few minutes drive away. And Uncle Kathy went to go fetch this person from the airport and pitched up by Uncle Nelson almost I think an hour or two later. And Uncle Nelson asked him, "Kathy, where have you been?" So the gentleman that accompanied Uncle Kathy from the airport, he indicated, "Oh my God, no special branch could have followed us. The way Kathy drove, nobody could have followed us to this destination." Later on, when Uncle Nelson asked Uncle Kathy, "So where have you been?" "I waited for almost 1.5 or 2 hours, whatever the case may be." He says, "You know what? I was lost." and that will be the aspects that I will remember of my grand uncle. Amidst the struggle, amidst everything that happened around him, he always had a joke to share. When we did a family visit at Paulsmoor Prison, Robben Island, a couple of years back, we had a family visit at Robben Island. And when I specifically asked him the question, "What is the most difficult part of your life?" And he said, "Being in solitary confinement." And he was in solitary confinement for a long period. I understand that it was almost for 6 months he was in solitary confinement. And when I asked him, "But Uncle Ahmed, surely 6 months in solitary confinement would drive any normal human being absolutely insane."
Yes.
So he turned around with an almost prompt response, said, "Who said we're not?" And those are the aspects that I will remember of my great-granduncle, that amidst the struggle and amidst his fight for the liberation of our country, and amidst the humility and the humbleness, this man always had a smile, and had always had a joke to share. Nobody was ever less important. Nobody.
Having said that, Aziz, that's how you as a family will remember him, those special intimate moments with him. How would you want South Africa and the rest of the world to ensure that such a great legacy lives on?
You know, when we talk about legacy living on, we're going to look at the attributes of a human being as to what attributes he had as a person firstly. Strive towards those attributes, to imbibe those attributes within ourselves, to say, these are the attributes I really admired in this human being. How am I inculcating those attributes to myself? And from the attributes, then we extend it further to say, what did this human being strive for in our country? Peace, justice, humility, humbleness, transparency, openness, and not with a sense of I, and I. How have I done and what have I done for my fellow countrymen and for the world at large? These are my hands, and this is what I need to offer to the world. What have we done in that regard? I would want South Africans to remember those aspects of my great-granduncle. Yeah.
Aziz, I think just before we wrap it up, we're expecting an announcement on the full details of the funeral to take place in just a few minutes. I understand that that announcement will be made very shortly, but condolences to you as a family. We all wish you strength, I think, as many South Africans do during this very difficult time, but I think certainly South Africans will never forget the indelible contribution that Uncle Kathy has made, not just only for this country, but I think the footprint that he leaves around the globe as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aziz Kathrada, who is the grand nephew of now the late Uncle Kathy, Ahmed Kathrada, as many of the tributes continue to pour in for this struggle icon. The family is saying it's a very difficult time for them now, but what they would want South Africans to remember is the contribution that this great man has made for the people of this country, and also fought alongside many others. He was not someone who would always have the I, but what you as a fellow South African can do for your fellow man. Certainly some of the sentiment that we will hear throughout this morning of a man that has been described by many as humble from the days of being within the struggle in South Africa till the bitter end. Well, we understand that the family is going to leave the hospital in just a few minutes to make that all-important announcement of the funeral arrangements, which we're expecting to take place in just the next few minutes. We anticipate that will happen at the Nelson Mandela Foundation, where a prayer service is also expected to be held. Those were the last details there, Leanne, that we did have, but a very difficult time for this family. You can certainly see the emotion when they speak about Uncle Kathy. We'll certainly bring you a whole lot more from, I guess, some of the other people perhaps who would come here to the hospital and share their condolences as well, and stand side by side with the family as we've seen since late yesterday afternoon.
All right, Griselda, thank you very much. And an emotional family, as you can imagine, at this time of the morning as they decide on what is going to be happening. As you know, it's the funeral that has to be had within the next few hours. In fact, one of the stories that we did see, it was coming out from Radio Islam, that was saying that this should be happening between 9 and 10 this morning. But as you heard Griselda Lewis saying, we do need to listen to the family and find out what they are going to announce when it comes to the funeral details.
All right. Tears of joy there at the same time as, of course, family members are celebrating his life, and we continue to pay tribute to you on Morning Live as well. Now, President Jacob Zuma has declared a special official funeral for the late Rivonia treason trialist and stalwart of the liberation struggle for a free and democratic South Africa.
All right, now, what's happened, as you may know, when it comes to these national funerals, the president instructs that the national flag will fly at half-mast from today until the evening of the official memorial service. President Zuma sends his deepest condolences to his wife, former Minister of Public Enterprises, Ms. Barbara Hogan, the Kathrada family, and his political home, the ANC, which the late struggle stalwart served selflessly throughout his adult life.
All right. The family has requested a private funeral ceremony, and the details will be announced, as we said, by the Kathrada Foundation. An official memorial service will be organized, and the details thereof will also be announced in due course. Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa will lead the send-off of the much-loved stalwart within government. All right, as we've requested that you send through your condolences at Morning Live at SABC, let us take a look at some of your tweets.
All right, this is coming from Ayesha saying deepest sympathy, sincere condolences to the family. Mr. Ahmed Kathrada, a great stalwart, the SA National Muslim Women's Forum. Thanks very much, Ayesha, for writing into us. Another one there from Rock saying, rest in peace to a true legend, one of the last few true freedom fighters of our time. Thank you and farewell.
Okay, Tato writing to us at Morning Live, condolences to Comrade Kathy's family and our beloved country at large. Rest in peace, Uncle Kathy.
Younger saying, rest in eternal peace, Uncle Kathy. Thanks for your selflessness. South Africa salutes you. Hambagachle Mkwanto.
All right, there is one more from Tyron. Rabalaka Khozo, Uncle Ahmed, you've completed the race and help secured our freedom. Thank you.
And last one coming here.
Yeah, from Gaupalele, Robalaka Kagiso Kathrada. Ntawilwile seo sa letseng ke serolo sa tlholo. Dumedisa bo Sisulu, Mandela and Mbeki.
All right, so thank you again for sending those through. So again, we continue to bring you the rolling coverage of the passing of Ahmed Kathrada, a national hero, certainly is, and I think that all the attention that we possibly can give him is what he is worth till the bitter end, fighting for the struggle of all South Africans. Let's take a break and we'll continue this coverage after this.
Tula sizwe ma Tula sizwe ma